and welcome to the Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland from Scorebook Live, Mississippi, joined as usual by my co-host and buddy Rick Cleveland. Dad, I know you had a good weekend. I think we got to talk about it right at the top of the show. You shot 65 last week.
Yes,
it's a thing that happened.
A career round.
7 birdies, no bogeys.
We should say super senior tees. I mean, I'm playing up.
You earned those.
Yeah, I'm 71. Yeah,
you earned those.
I was 7 under par and 6 under my age. So, yeah. But I think we should also add that I went back out there 2 days later, double bogeyed 3 holes on the front 9 and shot 78. So golf will get you.
It was going to get even one way or the other.
Yeah, it's going to get you one way or the other.
We got a good show for the listeners today. We've got Kevin Griffin coming back in studio, Belhaven softball coach and dad of Konnor Griffin, to kind of take us behind the scenes and navigating the waters of getting him signed to the Pittsburgh Pirates for $6.5 million.
18 years old.
Yeah, we won't get into that with him. I mean, so much of that, we had him on the show, but we weren't allowed to talk, so much about that, the negotiation.
What was really going on.
Right, what was really going on. So cool to have him back. Want us to open up with a little scatter shot, Olympic news. I know you've been watching, because I've watched a lot with you. Watched Simone Biles win a couple medals.
It's the most unbelievable. I mean, just watching how high she gets on that stuff she might be the best athlete we've ever seen.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
I don't see how any of that's humanly possible. But I have enjoyed going back and watching the old clips from like the 50s and then comparing it to what they're doing now. It's pretty fun.
It's more like dancing back then.
I know you watch 50s baseball and it doesn't look that different. No. I mean, the players look different, but the action doesn't look that different. You go to gymnastics, I would encourage anybody out there, just Google 1956 Olympic gymnastics. Some other news, we had Simone Biles. Scotty Scheffler wins the gold medal. What a year for Scotty, Dad. 2 majors, Olympic gold medal.
It's hard not to just really admire, just like him, just the way he handles himself.
Yeah.
The whole medal stand thing was good as I've ever seen. I mean, it really, you could tell how much it meant to him. And I don't know how much of it you watched, but he made up 10 shots on John Rahm.
Yeah.
John freaking Rahm. He makes up 10 shots on 9 holes.
He definitely got hot. I just appreciate him because I feel like he represents average putters everywhere. Scotty Scheffler, he's our guy. I say our guy. I'm a bad putter.
But if he putts well,
it's over with.
It's over.
Right. I saw Noah Lyles earn the title of fastest man.
I just wish he'd come out of his shell.
Yeah, right. He seems to be having a big time doing it too. But I just wanted to say he beat Jamaica's Kashane Thompson. 0.005 seconds was the margin of victory.
He leaned.
But how do you differentiate? I feel like you should have to run again. 0.005, really?
Well, the other guy's feet got there first, but his chest got there first, and it's all about where your torso is.
Which everyone knew prior to this, right?
They knew.
I was about to say, I'm sure you sound like a man who's learned some things over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the dominant basketball performances here. Our 3-man team didn't do so hot, but the 5-man team doing just fine, and then the women also doing really well. It feels like the rest of the world has kind of caught up with the United States in terms of competitive basketball, but then you get into an event like this, and my goodness, it's fun to watch, especially like Kevin Durant when he's on, and you got all these guys playing together, Steph Curry, LeBron James, quite the show.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, it's almost like pulling for Chase Manhattan, They're supposed to win.
Well, you grew up a Yankees fan, you don't know all about that.
Yeah. I did.
And now you follow the Atlanta Braves, who are top 5 spenders. And, I mean, it happens. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But those guys, just an incredible performance so far. What's been your favorite event?
Obviously, you know how much I love golf. I really enjoyed watching. I love that golf course, too, by the way. But really, I guess my favorite event has been anything that Simone Biles was involved in. She's special. She does stuff nobody else can do.
Yeah, and like from a standing position with no preparation, like it's incredible what she can what she can do. I mean, I saw a video the other day of her throwing out the first pitch at a ballpark somewhere, and she like does the like standing backflip with a twist.
Yeah,
before right on the pitcher's mound in blue jeans. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I know genetically we're all pretty much the same, but my God,
she's really, really different. I mean, there's how they say people have hops.
Yeah. I mean, her hops are.
She's got bounds.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think she tried to slam dunk a basketball. She'd sit on the rim if she wanted to.
And she does. A lot of her best stuff is without an apparatus. It's just her running across and jumping and leaping and twisting and turning, and she goes over a basketball goal. And she's what, 4'11", something like that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if let's say there's no apparatus for us to handle. There's no bat or ball or stick or whatever. And you're just going, do the most amazing thing you can do with your body. I'd be doing the walk like an Egyptian dance or something. I don't know. I can't do anything. Yeah. She can do everything. She's incredible.
Unbelievable.
It's just a reminder that these guys are also somewhat, I'm almost like superheroes. I can't imagine the training that goes into that.
No.
Or the diet, or the anything. I mean, it's pretty incredible. But we'll say the U.S. is up there. We're now lead in medals. This is as of Tuesday morning. We had lead in medals, and we're tied for the first in gold. So things going okay for Team USA over in France.
Things are going okay for Konnor Griffin, too, right now.
That's right. Yeah, everything is working out for him. He's reported to Florida, and we're going to get into all that with Kevin. And let's go ahead and do that without further adu. Let's bring in Kevin to the show. Kevin, thanks for joining us back in studio. I know it's been a kind of a whirlwind couple of weeks for you guys. We're real interested to hear, kind of a behind-the-scenes take on how all this plays out. This experience most people will never get to see up close and personal. So, first of all, how are you, and how's Konnor doing?
Yeah, we're good. It's been a whirlwind for sure. It's hard not having your kid in the house. Mm-hmm. You get used to being in a routine, and every single day, okay, we're going to go hit BP at 10 a.m. and we're going to go meet up at Grid at a certain time and get a workout in. But not to be able to do that anymore, that's kind of strange. But I know he's having a blast down in Florida. He's only been there a couple of days, but they're just easing him into some things and doing a lot of physical testing and setting up his development plan right now. And then once they get that going, he'll get to jump into games, and the season's about over. So there's not a whole lot of competition that can happen at this point, but they'll ease him into it as they see fit.
I'm assuming he's just loving it.
Well, they're in a hurricane right now, so
it's
a lot of just sitting around and laying around in the bed in your dorm, listening to it rain and hoping you don't have to evacuate. But I think in the next day or two, as that storm moves out, they're going to be able to get outside and get in the indoor facility as well and do some things.
He's in Bradenton, right?
That's right.
Help me with my geography.
South of Tampa, about 45 minutes.
Yeah. I've been to a lot of the spring training sites down there, but I've never been to that one, to Bradenton.
Yeah, they have a pretty neat setup in Bradenton. It's called Pirate City. Uh-huh. So all the minor league players, and even when they have spring training next year, some of the big league guys will stay at that complex. They have like apartment style housing. It's set up more like dorm rooms, but It's a big building. They've got indoor facility within the building, a nutrition center, of course, all the side fields, just like a regular spring training complex. Most of your big league guys will stay in hotels and things like that. They won't go back to the dorm life after experiencing big league life. But there's a lot of spring training facilities around that they can compete against in complex league games. The Yankees are in Tampa. The Phillies are in Clearwater. You've got the Red Sox in Fort Myers. The Detroit Tigers are in Lakeland. So within an hour, they've got a lot of competitiveness that they can tap into.
Does he know anybody he's down there with right now?
He played with Levi Sterling on Team USA, and Levi got drafted by the Pirates as well. So he's there. So that's good to have someone familiar. And then when we were in Pittsburgh, Indy Rodriguez, the Pirates catcher, was there kind of getting ready to go do a rehab assignment. And Indy Rodriguez was supposed to get to Bradenton yesterday, and Konnor and Indy were able to talk and hang out a little bit in pregame the other night when we went to the game. So I think that'll be good to kind of bounce ideas off of him once he gets down there as well. So he's familiar with some of the people there, and it's just getting acclimated, and Konnor makes friends very quickly, so I don't think he'll have any problem getting acclimated to everything.
Yeah, we won't go back. I think a good starting place might be the start the 2024 season, when I believe I read when he was in the batting cage there were like 30 scouts or something like that.
Yeah. We had been told throughout this whole process kind of what to expect, but you never prepare yourself for the moment when it happens. But that first high school game of his senior year, there were 57 scouts that showed up to that game. And, you know, that was kind of overwhelming at first because you have a lot of eyes on you. And people standing around with cell phones going up every swing you take. And then when you get in a bullpen or on the mound, radar guns go up. And he had to get adjusted to that a little bit. But after the first few days, he knew what to expect and just kind of took it in stride. And Konnor always wanted this to be about the team. And he wanted his teammates to be able to go through this experience with him. And I think there's some guys that got some good looks from the professional side of things because of all the hoopla that surrounded Konnor throughout this high school season. So he was proud to be able to experience this with his teammates.
Well, he had, obviously, when you win as many games, what were they, 34-3, something like that?
I think so.
34-3. He had some pretty good players around him, too.
Right. Yeah, and Kevin Roberts, he's one of the top players in the 2026 class. He had him on that team at Prep. Trey Bryant had an incredible year offensively for Jackson Prep. He just committed and is going to sign in November with Arizona State University. So that's huge for a prep guy to get into a program like Arizona State with so much history and tradition, and just a number of other guys that have opportunities at prep.
Catcher at Sound was South Alabama, is that right?
Duncan has been at South Alabama for a year now.
Oh, okay.
And started as a freshman. So Duncan Matthews really made a name for himself while he was at prep and has had a great start to his college career.
So talk about, Kevin, the discussions that would go on during the season with scouts, and are you trying the whole time trying to figure out who's really interested in?
You really are, and it's a lot of area scouts, and you hear throughout this whole process that, you know, area scouts, they don't play a big role in they play a huge role. They're the ones that develop the relationship with the family and with the player, and you have to really lean on them for information and be able to trust the area guys. They then, if they think you're good enough, they'll call their cross-checkers and directors, scouting director, and it just continues to go up the chain from there. So there's a vetting process that goes into scouting, and before you even speak with a front office person, you have to go through about 7 other guys just to get to the big dogs and get them to come in and watch you. So it's a tedious process and one that you just have to be real patient throughout.
So when you meet all these area scouts, get to know them a little bit, how much contact do they have with Konnor directly, and how much of it is with you, and how much? I'm trying to figure out, what does the timeline look like when they get closer and closer to the draft? How much do those conversations intensify? And I'm guessing the tone changes at some point.
Yeah, it really does. The area guys, the first thing they want to do is set up an in-home visit, and they want to come in. And part of me thinks that they're just like scoping you out to see, okay, what kind of house do they live in? What kind of car does the kid drive? What kind of money does the family already have? And that way maybe they feel like they don't have to give as much money if they know you already have it. We're paycheck to paycheck. So they come in, they don't see a whole lot when they come into the Griffin house. But, you know, that's the process and how it starts with area guys coming in and just trying to develop the relationship. It's really more communication with me, my wife, Kim, and the agency that we were with more than Konnor. We wanted to handle it that way. To try to take the distractions away from him so that he can just play the game and not have to have a whole lot of thinking going into it or through this process. We wanted him to be able to go out and just perform without worrying about everything else. Easier said than done, right? Because there's a lot of worry on the kid's side of things, knowing how many people are going to be there all the time.
Yeah. You know, I kept hearing things April into May, and the Pirates were one team I was hearing, but the White Sox were a team I kept hearing more about than any.
Right. Yeah, the White Sox were in a lot, and I just feel like that they were really interested in Konnor. The Guardians, who picked first, were super interested, but all those teams in the top 5 were wanting to get players to take major discounts. And if you look back, all the numbers are public. So if you look back, there wasn't a player in the top 5 that signed at slot or above slot. They were all below, well below. And, you know, Konnor had a lot of leverage, and he had great option sitting there with LSU. And they knew that he didn't have to just sacrifice what we called his value just to go in the top 5. The spot never really mattered to us. We wanted him to get in a good system, a good development program, to get what we felt like he was worth, or else he would have gone to LSU. And we were adamant about that all the way up until the day of the draft, honestly. And that's just how everything played out. But the White Sox, yes, they were all interested, but a lot of teams, they wanted to be interested with a discount.
How strange is it to, you know, meet a couple of people and then them, you know, like put a price tag on your son? You know what I mean?
Well, you find out real quickly that it's big business.
Right.
And you have to grow to understand that throughout the process. And we were told all along, hey, this whole process will be easy. On draft day, you'll know exactly what teams want, and all you'll have to do is sit back and relax and enjoy it and have fun, because the decisions will already be made. That was not how it played out, Rick, as you were there and you saw it with your own eyes. And there was nothing relaxing about that night, quite honestly.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to ask you about is you're between every pick, you and Konnor, and sometimes your wife would go into another room to take, I'm assuming, to talk to your agent, to Connor's representative, about what were those discussions like?
It was the clubs that would call our agent, and he'd call and relay the information to Konnor and my wife and myself. But it was basically, hey, this team loves you. They're wanting you to take a big discount, and we already knew that we didn't want that. So they were just telling us that we had moved on to whoever calls next. And you just take those calls, and it's just like a strategy session almost. And I relate it to, well, I don't know really what I can relate it to, but it's like calling, getting information that you think teams may or may not use. And even if you say yes, you don't know if they're actually going to take you. If you say no, they could still possibly take you, and we can talk about that in a little bit as well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. because he got selected by the Pirates, and I've heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, that basically you had told them you probably ought to move on.
Well, we had some situations later in the draft after pick 11, between like picks 11 and 17, that they had offered a certain amount of money, and we knew that would be really, really good for Konnor. And again, we didn't care about what spot it was. Mm-hmm. We just wanted him to maximize his value and get in a good organization for development. And so when the Pirates, when we got the call for the Pirates at 9, we had, more money on the table for Konnor down the line, and they took him anyway without like a deal being in place. And the Pirates were one of those teams that we kind of had our eyes on all along anyway. We had a great relationship with Darren Mazeroski, the area scout, which, Rick, you
Mazeroski
will remember his dad, Bill.
His dad broke my heart.
His dad, Bill, had the shot heard around the world in the World Series against your Yankees. And Darren was such a great guy throughout this whole process, and that played a big part in Konnor's desire to potentially play with the Pirates organization.
Kevin, when he hit that, of course, you're too young, you wouldn't remember it, but my dad and I were watching it in our den in Hattiesburg. Whole family, big Yankee fans at the time. I face planted on the carpet in our den. I cried. Yeah. Boy, Mazeroski, Tyler, home run in the Game 7 World Series, beat the Yankees. Mickey Mantle just broke my heart.
But that was pretty neat when Darren, his son, showed up as the area scout and developed the relationship with him and was able to hear those stories. And that whole organization was just top notch. We never, after they drafted him, we never had a doubt that it was going to get worked out, because we knew they didn't want to lose the pick. They didn't want to lose that slot money. That's the kind of things that people get fired over. You draft a first-round guy and then don't sign him. People have lost their jobs in the past over things like that. So we knew that it was going to get done eventually, and we knew Konnor really wanted to sign with them because he loved the guys in their organization. He thinks they had a great plan for him. And so we really weren't ever worried about it. Konnor was just ready to get going, and the impatience of an 18-year-old, he was ready to pack up and get to Pittsburgh and be able to celebrate everything. It just drug out for a couple of weeks, but we knew it was going to get done.
Yeah, and the ballpark. Y'all
Beautiful.
Went to it, and it's unbelievable how pretty that area is. The ballpark.
PNC's probably got the nicest backdrop of any stadium in Major League Baseball, and just to be able to sit in that stadium and look out over the city across the big yellow bridge behind the field. Every player in that organization certainly dreams of being able to step foot on that field as a Pittsburgh Pirate one day.
Yeah, it is truly a gorgeous place. I think a lot of listeners are going to, and I don't even know if you can answer the question, but a lot of listeners would be interested. In your talks, your backup plan pretty much is LSU. If this doesn't work out, do you ever discuss like NIL and stuff like that with LSU?
I'll tell you, that's something that a lot of people speak on uneducated, because they really don't have any idea how the NIL piece works. People think that there's all this money thrown out for college baseball, and I'll be honest, we never, leading up to the draft in the last month and a half, we didn't have those conversations. That's not something, and it might be because LSU knew that, all right, Konnor was probably going to go pretty high in the first round, and baseball's not to the point yet where they can touch NIL signing bonuses. When you're talking, you hear of guys getting $200,000 or $300,000, but that can't touch the signing bonus of a top 10 pick. So I think there's some $1 million NIL deals going on out there right now in Power 5, Power 4 college baseball. But when people say that players are getting equivalent to first-round signing money, they're just speaking in a way that they really are just guessing, honestly. It just doesn't happen.
Well, you're a college softball coach. Did you see what the girl got at Texas Tech?
Yeah, and, that number was even it's spread out over 3 years. So if you do the math on $1 million over 3 years, I mean, that's more equivalent to what a baseball player's getting in NIL money. So that number's kind of skewed a little bit because it's not a big chunk. Plus, you also have to think you got to pay taxes on all that money too. NIL money's taxed just like signing bonus. So you're getting about half of what you really get from a tax standpoint. So, the NIL in baseball is just not where football is at this point. And anybody that says differently doesn't really know what they're talking about.
That still blew me away when I saw that a college softball pitcher got signed.
It's good money, and she's good. I mean, I think there's a lot that went into that with Kennedy is her last name, and she's really talented and probably the top pitcher in all of college softball. And it's going to continue to evolve that way. NIL is going to get really big, not just at Division I level, but it's going to start trickling over to D2 and even D3 to an extent to be able to convince players to come to their levels of play.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad softball players are making a little bit of money, and I'm really glad they're taxing it too. That's awesome. We're going to end up building schools off of NIL deals here. So I guess he's not going to get to play much this year. I know I've seen people put what do they call that? Like due dates almost, like ETAs for progression.
Just
and
a
that
development
kind of thing.
plan.
Right, a development plan. I mean, has he talked to you at all about what they're telling him as far as, how quickly they want to bring him along or how the process works? I mean,
the Pirates do a good job of pushing players through the system as long as they're performing and showing that they're developing on a pace that warrants that. They don't ever want to push somebody too quickly and then see them struggle, and then you can create a whole lot of negativity that way, not just within the player mentally, but then the whole fan base starts talking. And it's hard enough to perform under the pressure when people think you're really good, but when people think you start struggling, they're really going to start talking about you. And this day and age with social media, everything's out there. I mean, you see the negativity, you see the positivity, but their plan, I think, is they're starting him out as a shortstop, which was different. We didn't expect that going into the high school season. It was all center field because of his speed. And then he performed so well at shortstop, and his long range and reach at 6'4", you just don't see that a whole lot anymore in Major League Baseball. So they're going to really focus on developing him as a shortstop because he's really never had any development work at that position. And he may play some games toward the end of the single-A season in a month or so. But I think they're going to leave him in the complex league and just let him get acclimated, bring him back to spring training next spring. And I think he'll be with the big league guys for the first couple of weeks, and he'll still play the minor league games on the side fields. But to be around the big league guys and just have those conversations and pick the brain of guys who have gone through it, I think will be invaluable for him. And he's looking forward to that. But I think they're going to slow play it right now and not rush into anything this fall, and then just wait till next spring and see what direction they want to take with him.
The other thing I think listeners would be interested in, you've got an 18-year-old son who, granted, is more mature than any 18-year-old I've ever been around. I told you when I interviewed him after a game in February, I felt like I had been talking to a 10-year MLB veteran. I mean, he's a really mature kid. But still, he's an 18-year-old kid. He just signed for $6.5 million. How are you handling that? I mean, how does the whole end of the financial part of it?
I haven't seen much of a change at all in Konnor's demeanor or attitude. I mean, he's just the same old Konnor. When you talk to him, we don't talk about the money part at all. I mean, first of all, he hasn't gotten it yet. He has to wait 60 days before he gets the first half of that, and then the second half will come in March of 2025. But he's just the same old kid and wants to play baseball, and he's excited about being able to play now without the media hoopla and cameras in his face every time he plays, and he knows it's going to be more of a kid's game now, and just go out, and you better love it because it's a grind in the minor leagues. So we don't talk about the money part of it very much, other than he wanted to buy him a vehicle, and so he's got that on order and waiting on it to be delivered to the complex in Bradenton. But other than that, he doesn't really have anything he wants to spend his money on other than be smart with it, invest it, and make sure that it is something that'll last him the rest of his life if he invests it properly. And we've got a good team behind us that'll help us with that.
What kind of car? Let's come on.
Now he's getting him a Ford Bronco Raptor.
There we go.
Is what he's always wanted. And so he kind of designed it, and with help from a friend of ours in Texas. And so,
that's cool.
That's what he's wanted. So that's what he got.
Those things are highly customizable. You do have to build it yourself. That's very cool, though.
Yep.
And well, he deserves it. It's a lot of hard work went into this. So what's the schedule for you? When do you get to see him, and how often? And
I don't know. I think we're going to just let him get settled in Bradenton. If they do start playing games against the other affiliates, other organizations there in the area, we may try to skip down there for a weekend and watch him play a few games. But he's been performing with mom and dad around for his whole life, and we just feel like we need to let him spread his wings a little bit and get acclimated to things down there without the pressure. I mean, that's one thing all athletes, the first thing they want to do first and foremost is please their parents with how they play and that sort of thing. And he's been trying to do that, I'm sure, since he was in coach pitch baseball at 8 years old. So we're gonna let him perform and play without trying to please us. And we're going to let him be for a little bit. And mom might have to get down there a little faster than dad because I've got my own team here to get going in the fall at Belhaven. But she might get down there a little quicker than me, but we're going to get down there for sure and support him.
That's what I was going to say. I remember getting dropped off at my dorm and having to remind my mom that, she had to go at some point.
Yeah. Rick, I'll tell you, the coolest thing that I think I've experienced throughout this whole process doesn't really have anything to do with Konnor and his play. We were in Pittsburgh last week, and you'll appreciate this. They have built a Roberto Clemente museum there. And you being a museum guy with your history with the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame, which I have to say again, they did such a great job.
That was a great night.
That venue that night, letting us come in there and do the draft party there. But the Roberto Clemente Museum, if you've never been, they don't let people just walk up and go, but you can call and set up an appointment to go. It's the most amazing thing that I've ever seen. And to hear the story behind Roberto Clemente and his family, and it's just unbelievable. I can't put it into words because I'll do it injustice. But if you ever have opportunity to go to Pittsburgh and do that, you need to go experience it. It'll move you. Most amazing building I've ever been in my life.
Do they have tapes? A lot of tapes of him playing?
They have some footage, yes.
Best outfield arm I've ever seen.
Yeah, they have some footage of him playing, but just pictures that nobody else has, because the guy that built the museum developed a relationship with their family. He went to Nicaragua and he found old negatives of pictures that had never been developed, and he brought them back to the States and developed them. And the things he found were just like finding a gold mine.
Yeah.
So he developed, he's a professional photographer himself. The guy's name is Dwayne that built the museum, and man, just some of the pictures that he was able to find and footage of his early days of playing baseball were amazing.
Kevin, you've done it now. Rick will go to Pittsburgh just to go to that
I
museum.
love that kind of stuff.
I'll give you his card, and you can contact him and tell him I sent you, because he'll be happy to let you come look around.
Yeah, a couple years ago, some real good friends of mine, we'd go to a different ballpark every year, and we went to Pittsburgh, and that's one of the best trips that I made. And they happened to be playing the Braves at the time, which is the team that I have.
For better or worse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's a great city. It's very clean, and
it's beautiful.
I'd never been, and I was amazed by just the food there. There's so much
Italian and Greek and everything.
And it's different, but it was an amazing experience. The Pittsburgh Pirates really rolled out the red carpet for Konnor and our family while we were there, and I hated to leave.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling you may be back there a lot.
We'll see.
In the future.
Hopefully he'll be able to play well and move through the system and the organization. But if it never works out, what a great ride it's been, you know. We want it to work out, but if it don't, I told Konnor the other night when we left him, I said, you know, you've taken us on a great ride. It's been great.
Well, I got to say this, from being on the periphery and just watching it and reporting about it, I've been really impressed with the way you and Konnor and your wife and the whole family has dealt with it, because it reminds me a little bit about, you know, how Archie Manning handled his sons when they had, you know, it's his decision,
right?
But you're there for guidance, and I just have admired the way you've handled it.
Well, I appreciate that, and we've just tried to handle things the right way. You know, our family's big in their faith, and we wanted this whole process to be God-honoring in everything we do, and that's kind of been Konnor's whole MO throughout the whole thing. Is he wanted to do it the right way, and he wants to impact whatever community he's in. He tried to do that here in Jackson, and he's going to continue to do it in Bradenton and Pittsburgh or wherever he's at. And that's just what he wants to be remembered for, is to, as a kid who made a difference in the community and made a name for Mississippi. And, you know, there's been some great ball players come through the state, but Mississippi still gets looked down on, unfortunately, for baseball, and he wants to continue to help put Mississippi on the map.
That's great. We really appreciate you coming in. We appreciate your being open and honest with us the whole time that this has been going on, and we look, I speak for Tyler and me, we're looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Thanks again to Kevin for joining us in studio. So gracious with his time throughout this process, Dad.
Yeah, as I told him, it's been fun to watch from the periphery, and they have handled everything in a first-class manner.
Anything you looking forward to this weekend?
Watch some more Olympics, man. Go see your sister down in New Orleans.
Like you need an excuse to get down there.
Yeah, well.
Or to see my sister.
Right, yeah. I just wish it was November and not August.
Yeah, but in November you got to work, man. That's the worst.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the time we got this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure to tune in next week. Have a good one out there and be safe, everybody.